Does anyone actually believe that Donald Trump will sign a pledge agreeing to support whoever the Republican nominee is for president in 2024? Well, the chair of the RNC said she does. Over the weekend, Ronna McDaniel announced that a pledge will be a requirement to be on the stage at the first GOP debate in Milwaukee.
I expect a pledge will be part of it. It was part of 2016. I think it's kind of a no-brainer, right? If you're going to be on the Republican National Committee debate stage asking voters to support you, you should say, I'm going to support the voters and who they choose as the nominee. I think they're all going to sign it. I really do. I think the voters are very intent on winning, and they do not want to see a debate stage of people saying, I'm not going to support this guy, I'm not going to support this guy. What they need to say is, I'm going to do everything I can to defeat Joe Biden, and that means supporting the nominee of the Republican Party.
It should be a no-brainer. I mean, a Trump campaign spokesperson responded to McDaniel's prediction in sort of Trumpian fashion. President Trump will support the Republican nominee because it will be him. Now, I'm not sure why McDaniel thinks Trump will necessarily agree to this, even if it's what the GOP voters would want, as she pointed out. Look back to 2015, the first Republican debate ahead of the Republican primary. Donald Trump was leading in early polls and had nowhere near the sort of power within the GOP that he does today. Did this.
Is there anyone on stage, and can I see hands, who is unwilling tonight to pledge your support to the eventual nominee of the Republican Party and pledge to not run an independent campaign against that person? Again, we're looking for you to raise your hand now. Raise your hand now if you won't make that pledge tonight. Mr. Trump.
Trump explained his decision at the time.
I cannot say I have to respect the person that if it's not me, the person that wins. If I do win and I'm leading by quite a bit, that's what I want to do. But I'm talking about a lot of leverage. We want to win, and we will win. But I want to win as the Republican. I want to run as the Republican nominee.
We're going to move on. You're not going to make the pledge tonight.
I will not make the pledge at this time.
Okay.
Now, a few weeks after that, Trump eventually relented to pressure from the RNC, signed a pledge to not run as a third-party candidate, and he made a big spectacle about it, held a press conference holding up the pledge, etc. But numerous times, including earlier this month on the Hugh Hewitt show, he refused to support necessarily the 2024 GOP candidate and mentioned specifically what he had said back in 2016.
If you're not the nominee, will you support whoever the GOP nominee is?
It would depend. I would give you the same answer I gave in 2016 during the debate. The first question I was asked by Brett Baer. I was asked two rather interesting questions. It would have to depend on who the nominee was.
So why does the RNC think the former president isn't telling the truth? I would think it will be Mr. Trump who has the leverage in determining who would be involved in a debate rather than the RNC. But joining us now is Danielle Alvarez, national spokesperson for the RNC. Thanks very much for coming on the show. Appreciate it. Am I missing something here?
I think you laid it out perfectly. In 2016, the precedent was set, and the RNC asked the GOP candidates to sign a pledge to support the eventual nominee. And as you stated, the president signed and held a press conference when he signed that pledge. And so our hope, it's still a discussion that the debate committee is having, but our hope is that the candidates will sign the same pledge, because we have to keep our eye on the prize. In November of 2024, we have to defeat Joe Biden. We have to take back the White House, and we have to restore common sense to our country. And we can only do that if we are all united as one party.
But Donald Trump is saying he's not with you on that. I mean, I listened to what he just said on Hugh Hewitt. He said it in another interview as well. He is saying, no, I am not going to commit to that.
And his team also put out a statement to CNN that said that he would support the eventual nominee, of course, with the caveat that it would be him.
Right.
But that is
something. That's not the same, right? I mean, for him to say he'll support the nominee because it's going to be him isn't the same as saying he'll support the nominee, whoever it is, right?
Well, it's a discussion that the debate committee is having, and we anticipate that everyone will sign the debate. You heard from our chairwoman that she anticipates that our candidates will sign the debate pledge and make sure that they support who the voters choose as the eventual nominee.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.